Hey y'all, been a minute since we've seen blue sky here in East Texas. Of course, we got another round of rain coming next week, but we'll take this little stay for the next 3 days. Sunshine and unseasonably cool temperatures. I'm out here looking at my marigolds. Got to be careful what you wish for sometimes. What I mean by that, I planted these seeds about the same time I put that first planting of peas in. And these keep the aphids off the peas. But since I ain't got no peas, due to the washout, I got to worry about aphids. But my biggest lament was with the snowpocalypse, they call it, and all the cold weather. I was really late on getting these marigolds to get rolling and was concerned that they wasn't going to be big enough to protect the peas as I planted to stave off the aphids. Well, I guess I should have kept my thoughts to myself or not thought them because an onslaught of rain 3 or 4 times over the last few weeks have put the peas back in the back corner and not growing and let the marigolds catch up. So I'm going to be brave. Done some improvements to the field. Hopefully it'll hold. We just had some flash floods, and that's never good. That washed it out. But anyway, marigolds are where they need to be to protect the peas if I can ever get them up. So we're going to buy another round of pea seed. I guess Saturday, that's what my day holds, is getting this old pasture back in shape ahead of next week's 60% of rain each day. But we'll take it as it comes, and you just have to let time do its thing. I was reminded of a story the other night, and I've watched it, read it, and listened to it several times, and it's tickled me ever since. But it goes that a old boy was traveling down a country road, and he come up way ahead of a farm. As he was approaching, he noticed the old farmer in his overalls out there, and he had pigs all over the place and apple trees. And he noticed the farmer would pick up a pig and hold it up and let it eat an apple, take its time. He'd put that old pig down, pick up another one, and let him eat the next apple on the tree. He approached, he thought this was the craziest thing he'd ever seen. So he stopped, and he watched this old farmer a minute. Old boy gave him a hat tip and kept on his business, picking up another pig, and letting him eat the next apple and putting him down and going to the next one. So boy couldn't stand it. He got out of his car and he walked over to the fence. He said, "Hey, man." He said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You feeding them pigs them apples, huh?" He said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, I ain't real smart about country ways, but wouldn't it save a whole lot of time if you just knocked all the apples off the tree and let the pigs go at it on the ground?" Farmer had a perplexed look on his face. He looked at that old boy a minute, and he looked at his pigs as he was picking up the next one. Looked at that apple that pig was eating, and he finally looked at the old boy and said, "Man, well, what is time to a pig?" I think they was both confused. That made me chuckle. Time is important when you're growing crops in the season. But Mother Nature and the good Lord decided that this pasture was the way it was for a reason. Started to think I kind of got a little greedy by tilling it all up and making a garden out of all of it that was structured to hold the land back. But I guess better word for that would have been overzealous, maybe. Definitely wasn't driven by greed, just want to put a few more crops in. But we got this old ditch dug the other day, and I think it'll hold it back. At least that's what I'm banking on. So Saturday holds a little sunshine ahead of some more scattered rain next week. So looks like that's what I'll be doing. Look at that. Water will always find a natural level, won't it? And you ain't gonna stop it. But, life is good, and we're blessed, and that's just how it goes, isn't it? These old goats are doing good. Them babies are getting big, y'all. Quick, like. And I've got the incubation machine in there running full force. We've got 2 or 3 little babies hatching every day, and I moved about 15 of them out here to the main coop. They're getting up on about 10, 11 weeks, so they're getting ready to hit the main flock. So all is well, right? It's just how it goes on the old farm. Hope y'all are having a good week. Just thought I'd jump on here real quick and check in and see. Boy, it makes me nervous when they get close to this garden, but they hadn't messed with it yet. Watermelons and cantaloupes are doing good. Somehow they survive, and if I can keep DW away from me right now, let me flip this camera around. But they are all loving life. I'm afraid he ain't gonna let me get up here too close before he thinks I'm wanting to play. There's a little Marshmallow. She got her horns coming on. There's Mr. Cash. I went ahead and just named him. Don't have a name for that biggest one. He's getting all the milk from Mama. Of course, they're about weaned now. They're on full feed and grazing. But all of them are doing well. Life is, I guess, copacetic here on the old place. But looking forward to a couple of days of sunshine and maybe drying out a little bit, right? I still ain't trusting the chickens to, I looked over my shoulder. You don't walk away from DW without a double take. He's behaving. But I'm still keeping the chickens somewhat sequestered as I try to navigate this pea planting. Them cream criders take a little while, about 70 days to make. That puts us in the mid-July, and we're still in good shape for that. So that's all right. There's a reason, and we have to understand it, don't we? Kind of get tickled at folks that panic and kind of draw in the wagons. I guess there's a time for that within reason, but the way I read the good book, he doesn't tell us to be fearful. He said we're to have a sound mind, not fear, in no uncertain terms. Pastor read a verse the other night that I come across and saw in another light. I guess it was last year in the middle of all this pandemic. I always get it mixed up, but I think it's Revelations 21:8. But it's a laundry list of those going to the bad place. And the 2 that lead the pack amongst the worst of the worst, murderers and all that, first one is fearful. Second one's unbeliever. I think sometimes, of course, I've been raised around it and grew up playing Hot Wheels as a child under the church pew as the preacher was bringing down fire and brimstone all around me. But I didn't have no sense to know any better. But that, coupled with my granddad's instruction and knowledge and just life, I guess I've come to realize that no sense to worry about tomorrow. This life is just a vapor. You got to plan. You got to be moderate about it. Be prudent. But to withdraw into your own world, and if you think the end's coming, well, it is for us all at some point. And the good Lord's got his own timeline. But goodness, if you think it's about to end, why ain't you out there in the street telling everybody about it? That's what he said, you know. I'm stepping in the deep mud now, so I'm going to get off of it. That's just my opinion. We're not called to withdraw. We're called to be the light. We really are. So, got a chance to work on a couple of jobs this week ahead of launching the radio station. That's coming. Man, there's a lot of legalese and moving parts to get all done. We about got it all locked up. We've got quotes from double digits to single digits, and I don't know how somebody can be $12,000 apart on the same job, but I guess that's how it goes. Anyway, we're about to get that done. And, that'll be good. But in the meantime, had a couple of business folks that I know and have worked with in the past. Got to reunite with them this week. I guess Tuesday and Wednesday, I was in the mud in Tyler, Texas. New RV park going in up there, and had some work to do in that old red clay chicken mud is what I call it. That's what I always associated with that smell. And I mean, I was up to the top. Couldn't even take my boots in the truck going home. And then got to connect with another good friend of mine over in Lufkin today. Gonna work with him tomorrow. doing a little work at a new complex there for the school. But cool to be versed in different things, isn't it? Loving life and trusting that tomorrow's already taken care of. That old moon was here when I got here. It'll probably be here after I'm gone. And it doesn't ever worry about if it's going to be brighter than the sun, does it? It just shines on like it's designed to do. So I've just made it my credo not to get driven by the winds of change and uncertainty, because this is not the goal. So we do what we can, right? What's time to a pig? Yes, sir. That's about right. That's just how it goes. We have to live in the day we're presented. Hope I'm doing a decent job of it. Wish I'd done a lot earlier. Things might be different. Let me look and see who's checked in tonight, and we'll call it. Now that I got the garden right here at my feet, that old tractor's going to be up and down that field this Saturday, hopefully, Lord willing. We'll try to whip it back in shape and see if we can't make one more run at getting it done. I've kind of taken the attitude on that garden that them two old bulls that I heard about so long ago took. They'd been the top of the rock there on that pasture with them cattle for years. The old farmer, they looked down the hill over their cows that they took care of. Well, he pulled up with a big old truck and a big old trailer, and the meanest bull in the country was hitting the sides of that trailer. The young bull looked at the older bull and said, "Man, what are we going to do? That is a big bull, and he looks mean." The old rancher let him out the back of the trailer, and he went running out among them cows, and the two bulls was looking down at that pasture, didn't know what they was going to do. Finally, the old bull started snorting, hitting the ground. He was about to make a run right in the middle of it. And that young bull said, "What are you doing? That thing will kill you." He said, "I'm just going to tell you one thing. I'm going to make my stand, and I'm going to run smack dab at him." "Why would you do that?" "I just want to make sure he knows that I'm a bull too." So I guess that's the approach I'm going to take to this old garden. We're going to give it one last shot at defining that we're trying. And it is what it is, right? Always been tickled at that. Just want to make sure he knows I'm a bull too. All right, let me see who's on here, and we're going to call it an evening. And hope y'all have a good rest of the week. Tomorrow's Friday, so we're almost there to the weekend. That means some certain things for certain folks, and hope it means something good to you. There's Miss Michelle. How are you, ma'am? See from your traffic, you thinking about moving down south. Well, good luck with that. Hope that works out for you. Mike saying a hot 98 and dry in Cottonwood, California. I almost had to put on a jacket yesterday morning, Mike. Middle of May in Texas. Crazy, but that's how it goes. Kathy saying evening blessings. Howdy to you, ma'am. There's Mr. Miles checking in from Arlington, Texas. Blessings back to you, sir. Miss Carolyn out in South Carolina. Just the opposite. We got our first decent rain yesterday, the first time in weeks. Well, I guess we have to take the good with the bad, don't we? I'm sure not complaining, but it has been a challenge. It has. Bill, my good buddy from back in the day, checking in from Montgomery, Texas. How are you, buddy? There's Mr. Sterling Dossett from Natchez, Mississippi. Keep the faith and hang in there. Well, appreciate that. Sue's Honeycuts checking in. Good evening to you, ma'am. Let's see who else. Mr. Andrew, my buddy out in Interlochen, Florida. How about that? I remember that. Good to see you on, Andrew. Miss Donna, good evening to you. Brian and Deb Long from Southern Illinois checking in. Let's see who else is on here. Mr. Roy Waltz, hello, Joel, and life is good. Keep an eye on those goats. No, you got to keep 2 eyes on those goats. Y'all tell me if they're coming up on me now. No, they ain't that bad. Miss Joyce out in Florian, Louisiana. Good to see you on. Thanks for checking in. Scrolling up. Misty's checking in from Missouri. How are you, friend? Good to see you on tonight. Hope all is well out that way. Miss Kathy from Trinity. How are you? Sue said my grandma would have skinned me alive to play in the church of pew. She carried a wooden spoon in her purse. Now, I didn't say I didn't get a couple of little old spankings. It was that ear turn Dad did that was rough. I guess that was about when I was 12 years old. Me and Kimberly would be cutting up on the pew, and I always tried to sit on the outside. Of course, it was Dad and Mom, and hopefully Kimberly and then me. And I tried to gauge the reach of his arm, but if I didn't gauge it just right when we was cutting up, wouldn't say a word, but all of a sudden my old ear would start twisting. And you better not wince, and you better not cry. You better just get in line real quick, because if you had to go out back, you didn't want to go. You did not want to go out them church doors. No, sir. But usually a little ear twisting got me in check real quick. Wouldn't trade it for nothing. There's my buddy Ray. How are you? And Pam's checking in. How are you? I hope you got eggs the other day, Pam. I missed you. I think Jordan, I've still got the tomatoes you brought by, but if you didn't get any eggs, you need to get back by here and get some. We got plenty. So the way I saw it, I don't think any were missing. And he may not have known the arrangement, so feel free to come by anytime. I'd love to let you have some. There's Miss Joanne Smith catching me live for a change. Hope you do get flooded again next week. Well, if I do, I do. It's this old dirt. Been here longer than I have. I'm sure after I go, it'll still be here, growing weeds. But we'll try to grow some peas in between it. That's just how you got to look at it. Marcia's saying hello from Ohio. Teddy's saying howdy from North Carolina Hills. Susan's checking in from North Carolina. Deborah's saying howdy. Thank you. Have a good week. My good buddy Brian Wade. Hope you have a good weekend as well, sir. Really appreciate you. That's a cherished connection. Aaron Wilson's in Wills Point, Texas. Not sure if that's my buddy I work with or not. I think it is. If it is, good to see you on here, brother. Either way, good to see you. Mr. Jay Snyder in Sardis. Good memories of him. I have to share that story one time. That was cool stuff. All right, I think I got everybody called off. That old rain even washed the rocks out of the driveway. I got to fix that soon. But good news is, well, if I'm alive tomorrow, I guess I can say this. Plan to be. But we live to fight another day, right? Time may not mean much to a pig, but it ought to mean a little bit to us, as long as we understand the gravity of it. So get out there and do what he told us. Don't hoard. Don't curl up in the ball with fear and try to recluse yourself. Get out and live life. That's what he created us for, to be good and to help. I'm going to try to do that a little more every day. Hope y'all do too. Be the light. We'll talk to y'all later.